Good afternoon, beautiful beings of light. Welcome to the Wisdom Circle. I'm Priscilla, and Heather's next to me. We've got Wisdom Seeker Joan, SunPsychic Jean, Pure Visionary Psychic Terri Lee, and Kigaru Terri Suzuki, and who is our presenter today. So my name's Priscilla. Well, I've already told you all of theirs. We gather together monthly as a discussion group of women regarding awakening, awareness, and ascension. Our goal is to share, support, and validate each other, as well as others who are following a spiritual path. We're here to share and discuss spirituality related theories, experiences, information, and perspectives from diverse backgrounds and points of view. We hope to make you laugh, to feel included, and maybe gain some insight or perspective on whatever is happening to you on your spiritual journey. Our individual paths are unique. No two of us are the same, so please take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. And remember, this is for entertainment and spiritual purposes only. I love that. And today, our hostess is Terri Suzuki, and she's going to be talking about the uses of the Akashic Records, which is actually one of my favorite subjects, and I like to experience it with Terri too. So that's fun. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Priscilla. I think maybe in our first year we might have actually talked about the Akashic Records once. So I thought I would, what I wanted to do is talk about the Akashic Records just a little bit, just to remind everybody what they kind of are. And then I wanted to talk about the different uses of them because I find that people get really, really stuck in the, oh, we can just see past lives.
Hmm.
And that is, that's not all. There's a whole lot more things you can do. So I'm going to pull up my slides here. So uses of the Akashic Records. So real quick, just about the Akashic Record. The Akashic Records are where the details of every aspect of our lives are stored. So that means our current life, it means our past lives. It's just having the information stored there. I find, just in case people are wondering, like, where are they at? I find that they are in the quantum field that kind of hangs out near your crown chakra. So if you kind of think around your head, above your head, that's kind of about where they're hanging out. Um, the details about these past lives, you know, the details that you can experience are past lives, current incarnations, and future incarnations. So they are there to detail all of that. And when I say future incarnations, I mean now. Now, this is an incarnation. We're here right now. A lot of times, what people don't know is every single soul, every person has a team of Akashic Records masters, or some people like to call them librarians. So, all of you have that team. So, you might want to think about it like this, that you have your angel, spirit guides, beings of light team, and you have your Akashic Records master team. So, I suspect we have many more teams, but those are the two that I kind of know about right now. Um, you are able to learn how to access and read your own records. Your own records are always open to you. They are locked to me and other people. They're open for you. Um, you can learn how to read them fairly easy. You can even go on YouTube and do a little hypnosis and do that. The last little slide there might be a little hard to read, but it says the Akashic Records include lives on other planets and as non-humanoid beings. So if you have experienced a lifetime, maybe in the past, that was on a different planet, the Akashic, you can read that in your Akashic Records. It's available to you to know about. So So that's just the background. That's just the basics about the Akashic, of this information. Now, you don't have to be an Akashic record reader to read your own. Um, you, Many people, even before I learned to read Akashic records, I could read past lives. That was already open to me. So there's lots of ways to kind of get this information, not just through hiring an Akashic record reader, or it's available. And I want to say that my Akashic records master team, when I've asked them, like, why do you care so much about this? Why are you why not I'm not pushed per se, but why is this so important? And they said, because this information was always supposed to go to each person. This was supposed to be available to you all the time. It was not supposed, religion was not necessarily supposed to get in the way of this. And
Interesting.
and in fact, they often go all the way to, when things were made so holy, and it feels like that we can't, we have to have someone else help us to do these things. They're saying no. And in fact, I thank the creator that my team still likes to talk to me because I often ask them questions, and sometimes I think the questions press the edge of boundaries a little bit, because I used to ask them, like, why did we come down here with the veil of forgetfulness on us? That doesn't seem like a good plan. And
I
I'm
agree.
surprised I am not yet struck by lightning or anything like that. And they said, well, you're kind of onto something a little bit. They said, this was always supposed to be available to you. Yes, you have to have the veil of forgetfulness to come here to not fight the process of re-entering a body. But
Right.
you were supposed to have all this extra information. So really, this was supposed to be with us all the time. And we're supposed to be able to access this anytime. So, with that being said, does anyone have anything to add to that little
Well,
thing?
White Dragon did.
Ah, she says, or he says, wow, I just asked my higher self and it said that all I have to do is ask to access mine is ask for it. Ask it. Awesome. Yep. Diane G says, interesting. Does that mean the veil of forgetfulness is a myth? No, I think it is the truth. I think that happens, but what I think is it was meant to guide us down here. It was meant to help us, like, be a child. I mean, think about it. If you knew everything before you got here, and then you had to plunge down here in a child's body and know nothing and have to relearn it, you might fight that a bit. So, but that's just the Terri Suzuki take on it. Okay, I'm sure many other people have other ideas about that. So let's talk about what you can do with them, because I'm an Akashic record reader, and Priscilla and Heather can read Akashic records, and Terri, pure visionary, actually can go in and look at the Akashic. So let's talk a little bit about things you can do over there. So the thing everybody knows about is exploring past lives. That everybody knows that. That seems to be the one thing that you can count on them knowing. But you can also explore current life connections. A lot of people don't know that your Akashic record team has a lot to say about this life, a lot. Especially since they were part of the team that sat down with you and helped you decide what you're going to do over here. So they know a lot about what's going on. So you can access the Akashic records to gain a deeper understanding of your life purpose. Where are you on that path? What obstacles exist in your way? It's a great thing to ask when you're kind of feeling a little bit lost. Like, I really, really want to know more about what's going on, or how, I feel lost. I'm not sure what choices to be making right now. It's a great way to do that. They also can give insights into your current challenges you're experiencing. So, for instance, I've had a lot of readings where that someone came to me and they're experiencing a certain problem in their life. And in this problem, they just keep coming up against a certain idea, and they just don't even know where this idea came from or what's going on. And so I'm going to tell you a couple of stories about that. So I was reading Akashic records at a fair, and an Indian man came to my booth and sat down, and he said, "Nobody in my family for any generations that I know about," and he knew about a lot of the generations, has a heart problem. We're a really healthy bunch. However, at age 27, I had to have a stent put in my heart on the, I think he said, left side. And I am convinced that something else is going on here with this. Would you please go talk to my Akashic Records teams and find out what this means? Is there anything about this that I need to know? And so it was because he was such a believer, it was so easy to tap into his Akashic Records. And so as I tapped into his, and I'll talk about a little bit later about that process I go through, but as I tapped into his and asked them, why is he the only person in his family that has this heart problem? Why did he have to have a stent put in? Why did he have to have it changed, so many times? And they immediately just hopped me to a past life quite a few generations ago. In that past life, he was of Indian distraction still, and he was a guard of a prince in India. And he was loyal to this prince. Now, this prince wasn't it's like he wasn't the king yet. He might again someday be the king, I think. But as I was there, I just noticed how loyal he was, how absolutely loyal. Now, he had a family, and he did love his family. He was a good provider. He provided lots of money to his family. However, he didn't pay very much attention to his family. He was so loyal to that job. He had a son, and he had a mom, and had family. Anyway, I asked them, could you speed this up a little bit, and what happened that might have to do with his current heart problems? And they showed me that at one point he was defending the prince, and he got stabbed with a big lance right there in the chest, right where the stent is. And it all kind of made sense of why he has this wound that transfers from one life to another. I won't keep, it's a very long one, but there's a lot more to this one about the fact that he wasn't paying attention to his family, and that leaped generations as well. So it was really cool. But once he knew that, he felt more calm. And then we were also able to ask the guides, will he have to have it changed again? And he will when he's age 58. So, that was nice because I could know. But I do think that a lot of times by knowing where something happened, it kind of frees people up a little bit. A lot of times I notice that people become healed. They never have that worry ever again because now they know where it came from. So I've experienced this where that we're looking into current challenges that people are experiencing. I've seen, financial things that may have came from a different life, relationships where that people are changing places, like he's your husband now, but back then it was your sister, your brother, your uncle, your best friend, all of that. That is a lot of fun to see that. And just like this man, we saw health where that a health thing came from. Another reason to talk to the Akashic Records Masters about now is you can find many, many instances. I'm going to put this back up. And you can get a lot of guidance. So you can get career, love, moves, all sorts of different guidance. And the guidance I find is always super helpful. It helps. A lot of times I've seen them give more ideas to people about how they might live their career or their relationship. I do like to tell people though, I have a whole sheet. So if somebody books an Akashic record reading with me, I have a whole sheet of questions you can ask now, because people often don't think about what they could ask, but also it can become tricky. So, for instance, I like to tell people there's 4 things they don't really care about. They don't care about how much money you have, who you love, where you live, or what job you work in. If asked directly, if for me, when I'm reading, if asked directly, should I divorce my husband, or should I go to this job, or should I do this? My guides will immediately put up their hand and they're like, that's human business. We don't care. You bought the ticket to this ride. You ride the ride. You make the choices. That's why you're here. So the thing is, though, is you can get answers to those questions, but you have to do it obliquely, a sideways question. That's, yeah, just like Diane G is saying right there. They just say, you have free will. It's true. You have free will. But, as humans, that's what we want to know. These things are the things that are important to us. We're afraid of making mistakes, and we'd like to kind of know where we're going a bit. So I help people. So when I'm reading people, then I ask them what they want to know, and then we construct the questions to be just sideways enough to get enough information. So, like for instance, if you were going to ask me, should I divorce my spouse? We would say, dear Akashic Records Masters, has she learned all she came to learn with this person? Then you have a little bit more information to make your own decision. Have you learned everything you can learn with this person, or is there more to be learned? Instead of asking, should I take this job? We'll say, how does my frequency align with the frequency of this job? Could you show us if it does? And then they will show us if the frequency lines up. You might say, does my frequency align with my financial health? Is there any way I can improve my financial health and my financial frequency? They'll answer that. So all of these I have sideways questions so that we don't get the no human business. That's human business. So let's see. Any questions about that?
Well, I just wanted to say it is in that decision, and the decision is ours. It is our free will is in the decision. So when we ask whether we should or shouldn't, that's taking our power away. So if you say, does my energy align? That's information so that you can make your own decision. So that's a really good way of thinking about it, that not to ask them to make the decision for you or to foretell your own decision, because it's always free will, you can look at the information around it and make a better educated decision based on how you feel about the information.
Right. I also want to say that sometimes people leap ahead of those questions and just ask. If they really get it, sometimes they're like, ask them how I can better align my how I live and work, my frequency with my finances. How can I improve my finances by becoming at a better frequency? And they love that question. And frequently, when people ask that question at a fair, even when I'm reading a room, when there's many people watching, when you think that you might get a very calm, quiet thing, no, a lot of times Lashmi pops in. Lashmi's the Hindu goddess of money and love and gold, and she'll come in and do a healing on them. And your Akashic Records masters can invite these masters have been with you for 0 point from the time you were created. They will be with you to the very end, but they can invite others in to do some healing. And just when I often have questions about finance, it is generally Lashmi that comes in, but it might be also because I feel a strong connection with her. So, yeah. So other things, so probably all the things we've just talked about are probably things that, even though you have not heard everything about Akashic Records, so those are probably to be expected. Things that you could expect to have done. So now I'm going to tell you some things that you might not expect to have done, but can be done. So one of the things that I love to do when I'm reading, go back over here. Okay. I love to help people meet their Akashic Record masters. So what I do at a reading, like at a fair, I can do this fairly quickly now. I go greet my Akashic Records masters. And a lot of Akashic Records, just readers, read using their own team. But for some reason, I don't know how, but I decided that it's better to read with me on my team for me, but it's better than to choose to talk to your team about you. They're going to be the most experienced about you. So what I do is I greet my masters. I ask them to introduce me to your masters. And so I go over and I take a look at them. And I just want to let you know that your Akashic Records masters, probably all of the people on all of your teams, are people, beings, spirits. They're just big balls of energy in life. Okay. But because that I'm clairvoyant and I see things, they have to show me something I can read. They drape themselves in human-like things so that I can understand what they're doing for you. Sometimes when I meet these teams, sometimes I can get their names, but not all the time. I definitely can count them to see how many are on a team. There is someone, I won't out them, who is on our wisdom circle, who has the records now from all of the I've read that have 12 people, 12 Akashic Records masters. I'm shocked. Before that time, it was only 7 that I'd ever seen. The least, I've only seen a team with 1 master like once. I've seen 2s. Most of the time I see 3s, three masters on there. And then up to 5. After that, it gets a little more rare. They probably don't need as many people to do that. some Akashic Records masters teams, like what do I see? So sometimes they just drape themselves in something so I can tell like what they do for somebody. Let me see. I've seen angels on teams. I've seen shamans. I've seen gurus. Um, one time I saw a person that looked like it looked like a librarian, and what they were trying to tell me is that this is the person that's kind of keeping things in order. Oh, and Craig, yeah, Craig just I have read Craig's, and Craig's team does look like a film production crew. That's what it. I don't remember how many you had, Craig, but look just like a film production crew, like an old-fashioned one. And then I often meet each one and ask, like, what do you do for them? A lot of times they say things like, I provide the excitement, or I help them identify opportunities, or I, help them with their emotions, or something like that. They often will tell me kind of what do they do for them. I think that by meeting your masters, a lot of times it makes it easier for you to go back and read your own records because you know what they look like or how to call them, it's just sometimes helpful to know. So some of the other thing that I do, oh, I want to back up. Sorry, meeting your Akashic Records masters, I just want to let you know that not all Akashic Records readers do that. So if that's something that's interesting to you, maybe you have to ask somebody before you book them if they can help introduce you to your masters. You can also do a whole lot of healing in the Akashic. So when I first learned to read the Akashic Records, they immediately kind of put me on notice that you're going to be doing some healing here. And the first thing that they did healing wise was ancestral healing. And so what they did is they helped me go back and heal my ancestors on the 4 lines that make up of me, like my mom's line, my mom's dad's line, my dad's line, my dad's mom's line. And that was really interesting. So I'm sure it can be even simpler than that, but you can go back and do ancestral healing. The things that they kind of healed when they were doing that were the ways that my ancestors felt taken advantage of. Like in one of my family lines, there's a big fight over land. And even though it's been decided, there's still people with a chip on their shoulder about it, even though most of them are dead. And and so they can heal things like that. And so when you're doing ancestral healing, you're really in a lot of ways not just healing yourself and your ancestors, you're sometimes healing the people around you. Is there anything anyone wants to add to that? Because I think some of you have been through it.
Yeah, I just think that it's absolutely, let me just pop that down. I just think it's absolutely phenomenal that we can heal the ancestry line, and you could even do it. They say 7 generations forward, 7 generations back. When we heal ourselves, it can have that reverberation, and it really does lift and clear a lot of this family sort of grudges, or this family sort of tense energies, or history, or unspoken sort of miscommunications. It sort of lightens and lessens, and your family sometimes just behaves in a lighter, less like you're not really like I don't know, you don't feel like they're working against you. They're very much working with you. And it really does change the energy, and they don't know what happened. You don't really know that what's going to happen, but you feel something different in the air, something different in the
Mhm.
relationship, something different in the energy. And it's really a beautiful blessing, especially, I mean, a lot of our families, I mean, that's why we have families, right? To help us grow.
Exactly.
And I just think that part is really important, and just a lovely opportunity, as well as, you know, just all the different options that we have to ask questions. But that's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Terry, you did a healing series, that I think you ought to talk about, because wasn't it a series of like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
And
Uh,
it was beautiful. It was wonderful, and I think a lot of healing went on in those series.
well, that was the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So the spiritual, physical, and emotional healing of this incarnation. And so that's what Priscilla's talking about. That for a while there, I had a show, and Jean helped me. And what would happen is that I would contact my Akashic Records masters and ask them what they wanted to heal, and they would choose a subject like worry or grief or anxiety, and then they would tell me how they're going to go about it, how they're going to do this, and then they would usually provide a clearing and a healing. And it was really amazing. So you can get a lot of healing in the Akashic records. So it can be spiritual, it can be physical, and emotional. And probably there's even more to be done there. I probably only scratched the surface. Um, and if you want to, on my channel, Kigaru Spiritual Journeys, you can go back and watch them and take part in them, because they're not, the way they asked me to kind of set it up was to open the records. There's a key that we say to open the records to ourselves, and it's you agreeing to have your records opened. And in this case, when I did it online, I opened it to the people watching live and the people watching the replay. So all you have to do is go watch it, agree to it, and then you can take part in that healing.
I love that.
Um, it what I have noticed is that when you do those kinds of healings, that it does take about 2 weeks to get the full effect. When I kicked off that series, I kicked it off with Val of Dragonfly Crystals, because that Metatron had contacted me about this series that he wanted me to do. He had also contacted Val about this. And we didn't know, we knew that. And then one day we happened to be interacting, and I said, hey, Metatron's been hanging around. She's like, Metatron's been hanging around with me. And then we realized we were part of the same Metatron visitation. And so the series kickoff, if you go
Wow.
back, is with Val. I don't know if it's on Val's channel or my channel, but Metatron did a big healing then. And in these ones that I have done and have taped, I don't get pre-healed. It's not like that, even though I'm working with them ahead of time to figure out how the healing's going to go, they don't pre-heal me. I get healed right along with you.
Cool.
And the Metatron one I love because he healed me and made me an adult. Yeah, I finally am an adult. I can do the I can do the dishes without arguing with myself now. I can do laundry without wanting to put it off. Yeah, and it still works. It took 2 weeks, and then suddenly I recognized, hey, you're doing the dishes without annoying yourself. and I wasn't dodging it, or I'll do it in the morning, or yeah, I was like that. That was amazing.
That's very
Um,
cool.
yeah. Um,
Can we
I,
let me put this up. White Dragon says, Terry, future events exist in the records as probabilities and are usually not accessible. Have you ever accessed any of those?
um, I I have accessed the future in different ways. I don't. Uh, that generally, I haven't really accessed it in that way that you're talking about. But when we do these healings, when they do the clearing and the healing part, they do extend it into the future.
Mhm.
So by doing a healing on yourself now, you are healing your future self as well. So
Could I interject just briefly? What do you think, or what's your take on the concept that many people have that all of them are happening simultaneously? And that's kind of a mind bender, that they're
yeah.
just to kind of like it's simultaneously at a future, what we consider in the 3D timeline to be a future date or a past date or whatever. But can you wrap your mind around that or explain it?
Um,
Good question.
I will have to say I cannot wrap my mind completely around that idea at all, but I can tell you what I see and what I've experienced, and then maybe you can make your decision on this because I don't know. I don't know. When they have me doing the Akashic healings, where they've chosen a thing to heal, and they're doing it in my vision. What they show me is they show me the past like these little energetic slices of bread. Um, and they show me the future like little energetic slices of bread. So the future's going to my right, the past going to my left. In the middle, the main part of my vision is like I have a little cement patio. And on the patio exists a great big wheel. And the wheel uh, in front of me, it has like ends that hold it up, and it's like there's a little, probably a rod, and the wheel to me looks like tuck and roll upholstery. Now that means I'm super old if you know what tuck and roll upholstery is, but in other words, it looks like little lumps of maybe, I don't know, like you had a bread on it. A lump, this life is one lump, this life's another. And as you spin this wheel, you can see all the different lumps, which are lives. Some people, Terri, you're laughing.
I just love you to pieces. That's amazing.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like bread to me. It does look like
Lives.
tuck and roll upholstery, but in that, so sometimes if I'm reading somebody personally, that might be bigger or smaller. Like for instance, some people on this roll, there's only one roll, which to me says they're only living one life right now. Maybe they
Wow.
have a really big goal or mission, and they need to stay focused on that one mission. Sometimes when I do this, people have a lot of them.
Yeah.
I can spin the wheel and see many at a time. Are they living in them all at the same time? I don't know. I don't know. I think so. Do you know, Terri Lee?
Well, I just wanted to explain that the best way I have ever heard it explained is in Anita Morjani's book, Dying to Be Me,
Mm-hmm.
in her near-death experience. She said that she was given a vision and could see all of her lives happening at the same time. She said it would look like a glass apartment building, and she could see lives happening and her activities in these lives all at once. And that question, that to me, it didn't really affirm exactly what's happening at any given time. But I think the whole beautiful essence of this is the essence of your soul. And she was seeing that at that point in time. I believe it was them showing her. Now, I don't know if that's really proof of how it is. She says it is, and since she's been over there,
Yeah.
I kinda take her word for it, which would make the explanation of being able to heal your other lives m more clear, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I've also heard Dolores Cannon say that it's not that our all of our past lives are happening at the same time. It's that they are existing at the same time, so that we can dip in and out and go visit them and peek in and see and heal and then come back. It's that existence, like it's stamped in the records, and we can go back into the records and see what is going on in a past life. Like when I saw a woman who was a deputy, and she had a horse that was a cinnamon horse who had like a blonde thing on the front of his nose, and she now has a dog that is a cinnamon colored dog, and the dog has that same marking on his nose. And so her and the dog reincarnated, but I saw it in the, Akashic, I guess, because it is like a stamp, it is an energy, it is an existence. So they exist at the same time, but they're not necessarily happening at the same time. So she is that deputy having that life, but she is also herself having this life. But it's not happening, it's existing. So that's the same way as looking at those little apartments, that they're existing, that they're in there, and they're able to be tapped into or looked into or accessed at any time, and then be us, because our soul is quantum, and our soul transcends space and time.
There
But
is no
it's really, it's amazing. It's really
Mhm.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
think that enables us to be able to grow as souls, because first of all, there is no time, um, and that is certainly the truth. But we've been given to look at this time complex as we come into our lifetimes and get these soul lessons that we planned on learning. But the ability, and many of you out there, you're curious about this, you're reaching for this, the ability to satisfy that curiosity by maybe having a reading or getting some kind of a feeling where, I'm really attracted to this. I know I've had a past life as ABCD. And then as you invite that in, you're also inviting the ability to experience it. You can actually feel some things of it. And then you can be grateful for everything that you learned. And you can also ask, what did I learn in this lifetime? How did I grow? You know,
Yeah.
so it's all available to us.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, actually, you brought up a really good point there, Terry Lee. Whenever I've been reading past lives for people, whether it's in the Akashic or not in the Akashic, I think the most important question to ask is, what do I bring forth to this life from that life, for
There
bad
you
or
go.
for good?
Yep.
Because we want to learn from it. We
Oh,
want to be able to access it or use it. And I think that's one of the most important things to
yes.
ask when you're looking at the Akashic records. Um,
You.
I was going to tell about just another quick story. One time at a fair, I had somebody want their Akashic records read because she had this deep, deep fear of losing her male partner. Now, I know people might not like this, but she also had a female partner. But she didn't fear losing the female partner. She feared losing the male partner. And I had to ask her a little bit, do you mean that he leaves and he doesn't love you? Or do you mean that he dies? Or do you, she says, I feel like I'm afraid to extend all my love to him because he's going to leave. He's going to die.
Mm.
Like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. And we went in and read her Akashic records, and they took me back to a long, long, way, 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 way ago life where that she was probably in Egypt or Libya, somewhere around there, and that she was male and that she had many wives, but she had a favorite. She had a favorite wife that she dearly, dearly loved. And I could just feel the love. This was one time where I just really felt like I was there. And her wife got pregnant. They were so excited. They're going to have a baby. And the wife died in childbirth, and the little princess she had died. I was crying. It was devastating to this person. Devastating. Like you'd be the kind of devastation where you'd be afraid to love again. It'd be really hard. And then I asked the Akashic records, could you show me another life? Is there any other life where this happened? And they showed me where that she was a male, and she had a boyfriend, and it was like in about, I want to say, the Netherlands area, somewhere around there. And it was a long time ago too. I want to say 1600s ish. And they were very careful. They were both writers and artists, and they were very into the art scene. They loved each other a lot. They thought they were being very careful so people wouldn't really know about their relationship. But a program happened, and the rulers of the times decided to kill anybody who was different. And so she had to watch her lover being killed, knowing that she's next. And the emotions, the fear, but what was really, really overwhelming was the anger. So much anger. They had been so careful, and only just to die. And she thought, why didn't we just live out in the open? If this was going to be the ending, we should have taken it. We just should have lived it up. But of course, she still. So these things is what made her so fearful of this. And this was the other thing I've noticed, that once somebody knows about this kind of happening in their life, it kind of self heals.
Mm.
It's often like I don't have to go in and ask the Akashic Records Masters to heal it. Just the knowledge of how this happened tends to heal things. So that was one that was very, very interesting. And even I could feel a healing on it. That was the one time that I was close to being clairsentient. Yeah. Because I'm
Cool.
not, yeah.
It occurs to me, if I may say,
Sure.
that maybe that's why sometimes we can't go forward and read our future lives, because we have the ability to go back and accept this healing and learn understanding of it, and it changes the future as well.
Mhm.
So that could be part of the reason why. Yeah.
Could be. I'm going to skip one more ahead just a teeny bit here, though. We're all getting down to this. Viewing future lives, since it is really, really, really rare. Once in a great while, they'll let you see a future life. I have been grateful to have been shown a future life, and it was it wasn't where I got to see the lessons or anything like that. All I just got to see was like where I was at, and I was on a spaceship, and it was like Star Trek, and it was really fabulous. And my little dog had just died. I love my little dog. My little dog was just not like she was not like a dog. She was like another spirit or something. And I was heartbroken at the time, and I wasn't necessarily looking to see her, but I found her on the ship there, and she was my friend, and I was so happy. And I've seen other people I know right now who were on the ship with me, and I'm like, that's so and so. That's so. Oh my God, my soul family is traveling with me. And it was interesting. I didn't get to see how I died or anything like that. I just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. You know, this is going to be a fun life. I kind of can't wait for that one. It's going to be fun. Let's go to the one that we have a few questions about here. So recently, my guides have instructed me on how to renegotiate life contracts. So we have somebody who noted that. Sorry, this one, Suzanne. Is it possible that you cannot negotiate a portion or part of a life contract? It is written. That is true. So what they've shown me is that some life contracts cannot be rewritten, that they are as they are. But they also show me that there are some life contracts that you can rewrite. That now that you have more information about what you want to do in this life, you may want to make some changes. And then they also show me the contracts you've already fulfilled. And that can be a lot of fun because depending on how they affect you, they can be eliminated. So I've been practicing on some people with this, and I've seen where the Akashic Records Masters gave them a great big match to burn the contracts. And I've also seen it where that somebody, and this woman had spent time in the military, that the contracts were in such apple pie order, so perfectly aligned and stacked, that the records master said, "Oh, you don't have to burn those. You don't have those aren't even bothering her. They're just in such good order over there. Just leave them alone. They're not even worth it to do that." And so you can rewrite some of it. The way that I've been doing it is once somebody wants this done, I talk to my Akashic Records masters, because I haven't tapped into their side yet. And I ask them, how can we do it? Is it possible to rewrite it? And so right now I've done one on finances to make better finances. I've done one on future finances because there was something they wanted to do. And I've done it on being more confident. I have recently noticed like suffering and some other things that you can do this for. And so then, because I am not a woo-woo lawyer, I'm not a a lawyer for the other side. I do not know how to rewrite the contracts. So I spend a day before that somebody books this asking, can this be rewritten? And how do we rewrite it? What can be rewritten? So then they give me some phrases to have rewritten and some words. And somebody smarter than me also said, you can just ask for the most beneficial outcome too. I'm like, okay, well, there is that, but why not dig harder? Anyway, so they give me these phrases, and then I meet with the person on the day we're going to do it. And then before we even get into it, I confirm that they are willing to do this. And then I read the phrases to them and the words and try to ask them to really, how do they fit in your soul? How do those hit you? And if I've only had it once where that one line had to be changed, that they wanted love included with their finances. They wanted, because in their head, they knew that they think money and love are completely separate things, and that it affected how they saw the world. And so then, if that's okay, then we proceed and ask the masters to bring the contracts, and they'll bring a teeny tiny one pile of ones that can't be changed, and I just ask them to take those back. Then they'll bring a bigger pile of the things that can be changed, the contracts that can be. And I don't only ask for contracts, I ask for any type of agreement. So if they've agreed to lose financially in any way, shape, or form, bring those. Or if they've agreed to more suffering or something, they bring those. And I'll see that. And then the thing I wasn't expecting was the piles of contracts you've already done. I don't know why, but I didn't know they'd be so big. The first time I did it, they were higher than I could even see. And I was like, what went on here? Again, Terri, the nosy broad, like, Akashic Records Masters, what is that? And then they took me up there and kind of showed me. They put me through a few of the contracts real quick to show me what was going on.
So,
But
I mean, we've lived hundreds of, maybe thousands of lives. So I would think our contracts, and we've been around for millions of years. So I would think our contracts would be pretty big.
no, I'm creating a misunderstanding. We're only burning contracts for this incarnation.
Okay. Okay.
This one.
Okay.
This one.
And for the contracts that you've completed, what's the benefit of burning them rather than just leaving them?
Well, and they get rid of them other ways than just burning them. But for some people, the contract, getting rid of these, lightens the load. Maybe they keep thinking back to these happenings and it keeps hurting them. So by burning them for them, it is a form of healing, I think.
Like
Or
spiritually clearing the hard drive.
yeah,
Okay.
the person,
Yeah.
yeah. And so like the other one where the lady had her contracts in such great order, they told me, oh, Terri, don't worry about that. They're not harming her in any way, shape, or form. And I think it's only when they're harming you that they want to get rid of them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And the person that they burnt them, she said she felt instantly lighter, like a huge load had been on her. So that's
Thank you.
how it happened for her. So the answer to that question was some of these can be changed. Some of these old ones that might be dragging you down can be gotten rid of. And some of them cannot be changed because it's your life plan that you decided upon beforehand, and we're going to keep going. So,
But aren't all of them made as part of our life plan?
yes, but
What
I think
are the ones that you can't get rid of? I mean,
well, I've never looked at them, so I don't know.
I'm just curious because I thought if it had something to do with karma, but that doesn't really make sense.
I just want to say that I rarely, when I'm reading people akashically or in as a psychic medium, I'm rarely seeing karma these days. I'm just not seeing karma happen so much. And what I think is I think that each of us came with a mission, a core mission, and I think those are part of the things that can't be rewritten.
Right. That
Core
makes sense.
mission can't be rewritten.
Or the core, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I believe in astrology, there's a term called a karmic return. And what that's about is that you have certain things that have to happen. And it's not like punishment karma,
No.
but it's things that were predestined for this lifetime that are solid, that you're always going to get taken back to that point. You're always going to get taken back to that point. Almost like as a soul, I say, hey man, this is what I really want to learn. So let this be part of the karmic return. And you can actually see it in astrology. Pretty cool.
Wow. That's cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, is there anything you want to add to any of all of this?
Bravo, Terri.
I mean,
Covered it so well.
Interesting. Very interesting.
so
Yeah.
interesting.
Thank
You
you.
did a very thorough job.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. I did want to add that, there's many Akashic readers to choose from. In fact, earlier we had We had Linda De Gonzalez here.
Mhm,
She's an
mhm,
excellent
mhm.
Akashic record
Yes,
reader.
she is.
Diane Bowles,
Viviani.
Viviani. We have a whole bunch of really, really cool Akashic Records readers that you can choose from. And Diane G just asked a question that I have never been asked before. Have you ever used Akashic to find missing things?
Oh,
I
good.
have not.
I love that.
Yeah. So I don't. I don't know. I've used the psychic medium team for that, but
Yeah.
I understand that you can actually use it for, like a property that you're interested in. You can go into its Akashic records and see what was going on in the land around it before you bought that property. It may be somewhere you really don't want to live.
Yeah.
right.
I understand you can go to monuments as well. And I've never tried any of it, but I've heard of it.
I know uh, Trancing with Spirit,
Spirit,
Terri,
Terri.
she does that.
Oh,
She can
does
do that.
she?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
what I have noticed recently is that a lot of people who are learning to read the Akashic records, like right now, kind of, or in the last few years, it almost seems like they're giving us specialties,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
What do you feel like your specialties are?
The healing part.
Healing for sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like they are always directing me to a new way to heal. There is one more thing they've taught me I can do, but I'm not going to bring it out yet because I haven't even practiced, and I have to do it on myself first and see what
Right.
happens. But it's very advanced, so I don't know what I'm waiting for, but I'm waiting a little.
You'll nail it like you have all the rest,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. And healing, I think, is the biggest part of the Akashic records. That's the part I like about it the best is the clearing and the healings.
Mhm.
And I do a lot more of that than I do of going into past lives. It's almost
Mhm.
like, no, you need to be mindful of where you are right now.
Right.
That seems to be the message that I'm giving the most
Right.
is you don't need to worry about that. You need to pay attention to right now.
Well, actually, I'm so
And
glad
they're
you said
nice ways. They're lovely ways.
that. I'm so glad you said that, though, because I think that is important to note. Um, I think that hanging out in the Akashic records to see a lot of your past lives, I don't think that's super healthy. I don't think it's I don't think it's a good way to spend your time. I think it's better to stay over here and participate in this life.
Mhm.
And in fact, I would prefer if people like book me for Akashic records reading. I don't I think there should be at least a 3-month gap between readings if that
Mm.
you're going to keep booking or something, because I think that it like I said, it almost takes like 2 weeks to really understand whatever they're saying to you and to receive any healing you're getting from it. And I also think it's all healing, to be honest. I think
Mhm.
every time we read somebody as a psychic medium
Mhm.
or
I
with
agree.
our tarot or with Akashically, it's all healing. I think having this knowledge heals people. So,
I agree
Yes.
wholeheartedly. Wow, thank you, Terry. That was such a brilliant show. That was really fun, really informative too, and it's interesting to see how other people read differently. And
mhm,
I and I and I love that. We all have our own specialties, our own ways of doing things. We still get to the same place, but it's
yeah,
just different methods, and
Mhm.
love that about each and every one of us. And all you guys out there in the chat, hi, Sharon Sipe. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for being here today. And all you in the chat, thank you that have asked questions. We really appreciate it. And I'm just trying to think who it is next month. I forgot.
It's me.
It's Miss Terry. And what is your subject for next month?
Oh, this is gonna be deep, y'all. How Can you love your enemies? Not neighbors, enemies.
Enemies.
Yeah.
What would you consider an enemy?
Well, I've had people be out to get me in my
Oh,
lifetime.
really?
I'm sure you all, maybe you haven't, but I have, and you know how
Interesting.
I dealt with that. But this is guide driven, so
Sure.
yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, that's gonna, because I consider enemies like the political situation right now. I
That
feel like
is
those are the
included, dear.
enemies to me. That
They already told me that's
yeah,
included.
I don't really. Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's going
Yeah.
to help us, I think, deal with a lot of what is happening right now.
Oh, fantastic.
On in things. So, but as they always do, and I've got it on my calendar, I'll start here in just a week or so, and then I just
Isn't it
spend that
fast
time
how
and say,
a
"What you
month
got?"
comes up? It,
Oh,
it goes so fast. It's like, wait a
yeah,
minute, my turn again? No way. But we love it. Oh, thank you so much, ladies. I love each and every one of you and all you out in the chat and that are watching, that are lurking. We sure appreciate you being here today, and we will see you next time. So until then, goodbye, everyone.
Uh,